Hey guys, so the pull-up is one of the best bang for buck exercises you can do. Not only is it going to help you pass your ACFT, it's also going to have a massive carryover to what it is you do out on duty. Come and check out how we do it.
Today we're going to talk about pull-ups. I come from the Marine Corps. Pull-ups are a non-negotiable in the Marine Corps. You have to do them, you're tested on them. Also in the airborne community it's important, as well as several other tactical communities. It's the ultimate show of upper body strength. And upper body strength is incredibly important for multiple reasons. You wear a lot of heavy weight on your upper body. You have to climb from time to time. You have to negotiate obstacles from time to time. You have to pull people, carry people, so on and so forth. So today we're going to talk about mastering your pull-up. From the firefighter front, how are pull-ups important?
So like you said, that upper body strength is really important for us. A lot of times we're climbing ladders, sometimes with weight, sometimes without weight. Pulling ourselves up out of a bad situation. If you fall into a basement, guys are going to be pulling you up, you're going to be pulling with them. Any type of row, any kind of high pull, anything like that is going to transfer over to what that pull-up strength is going to get you.
So unsurprisingly, in kind of sport, both pro and at a collegiate level, pull-ups are probably one of the most commonly prescribed exercise. And we said for good reason. So we know they're really highly correlated to expressions of upper body strength and power, but also more interestingly, they're linked to longevity. So we know that being able to still do pull-ups in your 60s, 70s, and even 80s is really highly correlated not only to living longer, but living a higher quality of life for longer. It's like once a Marine, always a Marine.
Right, yeah. I'd love to be able to do pull-ups till I'm 100 years old.
That's the goal. So what we're going to go through today, as Danny was saying, we'll start off just playing around with your pull-up technique to help make sure you're really dialed in. And then we'll show you some fun variations that you can do to help increase not only your pull-up numbers, but your ability to be strong and powerful when overhead.
Cool, let's get into it. So
we know already from Danny's perspective that pull-ups are an essential part of military fitness testing. What's it like in fire? Is it something you guys are assessed on?
So for us, whenever we do a recruit school, it's hit really heavy. We do hit pull-ups really heavy, a bunch of different variations. Once you get out into the companies, it's not something that we test for on an annual basis or anything like that. Most people do add those to their workouts though, because they know it's important, but it's not anything that we have a set number that you have to hit every year or anything like that.
But so maybe if you're in a position where you're looking to start going to an academy or perhaps training up for a smoke diver program, definitely check out this section where we talk through techniques. So to start with, we're going to have Nolan address the bar. He's going to reach overhead. Generally in most tests, we're going to have that overhand grip. So that's what we'll stick with today, but obviously you can use other variations. The width of that grip is going to be whatever feels most comfortable for you. So typically we say around shoulder width, maybe a little bit wider, but you can kind of play around with that and see where you feel you can get the most tension. As you see Nolan's done here, he's got his knuckles wrapped over the top of the bar and he's got his thumbs wrapped underneath to create a nice secure grip. Now we know from the neurology around grip strength, the harder you can grip the bar, the more nervous system drive you can get to increase force and power. So as Nolan's in this set position, we're looking to try and keep his neck long. He's going to squeeze his glutes, have a little bit of tension through the abs, and he's going to dig his big toes into the bottom of his shoes, which is going to further increase that glute activation and general neural drive. So we can see from the back that Nolan's created a nice stable platform from his shoulders and his scapula. He's going to squeeze his glutes, dig those big toes into the bottom of his shoes to get some nice glute activation. And then when he's set, he's going to pull smooth. Typically in a fitness test, chin clears the bar and then slowly back down again. Just knock out a couple of reps for us, Nolan. Perfect. And just rest easy. So typically what happens, drop when you're ready, Nolan. Typically what happens as you start getting fatigued is you let that tension go from the top and we free fall down to the bottom. Now, not only is that going to rag your shoulders a little bit, you're potentially going to lose your grip. So if you can, even when you start getting tired, particularly in those fitness tests, think about keeping it smooth and controlled as you lower down to the bottom position. The better you get at things like dead hangs, the more time, the more capacity you're going to have to be able to rest in the bottom, like an active rest, before you go again. So now we've got your technique dialed in. We've got Danny back in to go through some different variations of pull-ups. So we know as a way to add reps, if you're looking to try and increase the number of pull-ups you can do or increase your upper body pulling strength, just doing endless reps of max attempt pull-ups won't get you anywhere. You'll get to a dead end. What we have to try and do is increase some variability. So one of the things that we love, and you'll see it programmed all the time, are these dead hangs. So for this, Danny's just going to jump up to the bar and hold on. and we can go a dead hang or an iso hold in this position where we're just looking to try and hold on for as long as possible. We can also do iso holds, isometric holds in different positions. So he can hold at the bottom, he can hold midway, and he can hold over the top. Perfect, and then just relax there. Nice and smooth. So we know with isometrics, the position we're holding in, that's going to be the position where you're going to gain the most strength improvements, plus or minus a couple of degrees either side. So that's why it's really important to hang in these different positions. And as you can see with Danny here, we can vary up the grip as well. And even if you're just tested in that overhand position, it's still really valuable and still really worth mixing that grip up, just because it challenges the body slightly differently. So a really nice drill that Danny's working on now are these grip changes. So he was just showing us getting into a different position, but just working on mixed grip changes is a fantastic drill. We can go wide hand as he was demoing there, as well as things like chin-ups. So another idea that you can play around with, and again, we'd suggest varying these up, so maybe picking one variation each week. For instance, on a Monday, you might go at the very end of your session, just one best effort attempt. And that's kind of your baseline for the week. You can see where you're at. The Tuesday then, you might take that number and maybe add, say, 10, 20%, something like that, and divide that up into intervals. So we can set a running clock and we can try and go every 15 seconds, maybe 4 or 5 reps, and we can then build up the total volume so that volume exceeds what your previous best was. That's a really nice way of bumping it up. Another really nice variation we can play around with is to take on forced reps that you might have seen or done on something like a bench press, where you go max effort and then have a partner assist you through a few extra reps. We're going to do the same thing here with the pull-up. So imagine Danny's just finished doing a max effort attempt. He's then immediately going to use a band, pop it on his knee or under his foot, and knock out maybe another 10 band-assisted pull-ups. So this is a nice way to force that adaptation. You got it, perfect. If he starts to fatigue and we want to add another layer of complexity in there, he can even add a slight hop with that left foot just to crank out a few more. Now, a word of warning, this is going to suck. You might not feel it at the time, but you'll definitely be sore the next day. So just bear that in mind depending on what your duty looks like.
Careful with your band.
So with Danny, we went through a couple of variations to get you through maybe a Monday, Tuesday. The next one we're going to talk about is adding resistance. So as Nolan's set up here, he's got a band resisted. So this time, rather than with Danny where the band was pulling him up, this time the band tension is pulling Nolan down. So what we've set up is we've got 2 thin bands and we've looped them through the bottom of the rig, so they're pulling him down. He's just going to knock out a rep where he pulls himself up. And as you'll notice, as the band gets tighter, that'll get much harder towards the top. And just like we said before, he's really slow and controlled on the way down. Perfect, thanks Nolan. Another way we can add resistance is obviously through a weight vest. You can chuck a ruck on if you want to, or you can just add a weight belt. Finally, we've also got partner resisted. So we talked about kind of the band assisted. Obviously, you can use a partner to help you get up as well. This time, as Nolan hits the pull-up and holds at the top, Danny's going to provide some manual resistance and try and pull Nolan down. So Nolan's fighting as hard as he can to stay at the top. Again, this sucks. This is really hard. Definitely urge you to kind of apply caution when you come to do this. And if you're the partner, don't take the piss because you'll be switching over at some point so he can get his own back on you.
Yeah, so be nice to your training partner.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of our resisted series. We can also then, if we're coming on to a Thursday or a Friday, we can add in some more traditional gym-based elements that will help your pull-ups. So things that are great for that, you might have guessed it already, is going to be things like a lat pull down. We can do that with a bar, or we can do it with a band. We can do dumbbell pullovers. All these things will help transfer over to pull-ups. But what we would definitely suggest is that if you've done any of those movements, you also throw in a few regular pull-ups at the end, just so your body and your brain kind of remembers the transfer between the two. Because ultimately that's what we're looking to do, is increase your pull-up reps. So that's how you might add in some variations for pull-ups into your own training. But one thing we definitely urge you to do is go onto the Softly app and check out the supplemental teams. Now in there, you've got a few extras that you can add into your regular programming. There's a 5K program, but specifically for this, there's a nice pull-up supplemental program in there that will take you through some of these variations without you having to think and remember them. So check that out and feel free to add that into your own training.
Perfect your pull-ups.